Hi, everyone. This week we're going to talk about budget. I know, very exciting, right? But budget is really important. Budget is important for your personal finances, but also having an understanding about budget will help you professionally. So for many of you, you're college students, and pretty soon many of you are going to graduate. And so having some experience with budgeting can be something that you can add to your resume and talk about as a skill set. And I can tell you that it's something that will come up in your professional life. So, in my personal life, I have a budget that I have to manage. And in my professional life as a department chair, I'm responsible for the budget for my department. And so having some sort of idea about money and budgeting is really useful. So in this week, what we're going to do is we're going to think about budgeting. So part of budgeting has to do with deciding what money should be used for what things. And it's not just about like, how much money do you have to pay your cell phone bill? Although that is important, but money is a value statement. Where you spend your money tells you something about what you value in your life. And I think if you don't budget, then you're not thinking about what those values are. So for example, if you're really interested in health and wellness, are you allocating the money that you want to for that category in your life? How much do you spend in that category? Is it the appropriate amount? And then, where are you spending money in other categories that really is not where you want to spend it, that you might want to reallocate to the health and wellness category? So the first step is you really need to know where the money's going. So whether you budget or not, this week, we're going to get you to sort of think through, maybe it's in the past year or the past 3 years, or even just the past month. Where did you spend money and what categories? And just kind of tally it up. How much money was spent in the various categories? And then also, were you putting aside some money for savings, for those emergencies? So one of the things that financial experts would tell, whether you're a young person or any person who has lots of money, you should always have an emergency fund. And so spending money, you should also think about allocating a certain portion of your monthly income into that emergency fund, because emergencies are not, those unlikable events. They just happen routinely in life. There are going to be things that go wrong that are emergencies, and you need to be ready for them. So understanding where the money goes then allows you to think through, did I put the money in places that I'm happy with? So that involves thinking through the categories of spending and where you want to put money and thinking through a budget. And I do this whether it's with my personal finances or with my department's budget. You think through every category and you think, okay, am I spending 10% of money on office supplies? Is that the appropriate amount? And think through what historically happened and if that's an appropriate thing. So I can tell you from my own department's budget, we spend way too much money on photocopying. And so thinking through, is that the right amount, or are there ways that we can reduce the photocopying costs? And going back to the value statement, why do we spend so much money on paper when maybe that's not the most environmentally friendly? So that the idea about spending money in value is something you want to think through. And then once you set your budget, you have to look at your spending and are you hitting your targets in your various categories? Are you underspending in some categories so you can save some money and put it in other areas? Are you overspending in some categories, which is usually where you have to think through, okay, why am I overspending? Like eating out is one of those great examples of where you might overspend. And so we're going to just use documents that are provided by the federal government for anyone to use, freely available budget documents. We're going to do it really simple because I think it's just a process that you want to just start thinking through, tracking your expenses, thinking through what your values are, where you want the money to go. how much you're going to save, hopefully more than zero, right? And then thinking through over and over as an iterative process, you know, the budget that I set, is this the right budget? Do I need to tweak it next month? Do I need to tweak it as my income changes? So as a student, you never have enough money. But, you know, as you take that first job, suddenly you'll have more money. Where are you going to move the money to? Paying off student loans might be a top priority. And then thinking through, you know, what are your long-term goals, but what are the short-term goals, and are they getting you to your long-term goals? Okay, so we'll start with the budget process this week. You know, I hope you have some fun with it, because I think this is really about you. You know, what do you want? What do you want to achieve? And then the most important thing, as a psychologist, I have to say this. Sometimes people, when they think about budgets, especially if you're a student and money is just a source of stress, they think about budget and they think about budgeting as a source of stress. But really what we know as psychologists is that when things are stressful, put your attention on it and think about it by putting the emotions out of it a little bit. And just think about it as a problem to solve. And then once you take concrete action, you'll feel a lot less stressed. And then you'll feel like you're making some progress and you'll feel a great amount of achievement. Okay, so let's begin this week. Thanks, everybody.